The 8th Guards Panfilov Division, originally the 316th Rifle Division, is a motorized infantry division of the Military of Kyrgyzstan, formed as a Red Army division during World War II. It was dissolved in 2003 but established anew in 2011. History. Formation. After Germany invaded the Soviet Union on the 22nd of June 1941, reserves were mobilized to be sent to the front. On the 12th of July 1941, the 316th Rifle Division was established in Alma-Ata, the capital of the Kazakh SSR. Major General Ivan Panfilov, the military commissar of the Kyrgyz SSR, was appointed its commander. The reservists allotted to the 316th were mostly from the two republics. It consisted of 1073 GH Rifle Regiment, 1075th Rifle Regiment, 1077th Rifle Regiment, 857th Artillery Regiment, 597th Sapper Battalion. The 316th soldiers were sworn in on the 1st of August and boarded trains to the front from the 18th to the 20th. They arrived in Borovichi, near Malaya Vishera, in late August. Intense fighting against the Germans had already taken place in the region, as part of the campaign to defend Leningrad from the attack of Army Group North. The 316th was involved in several skirmishes, but on the 8th of September was consigned as the reserve of the 52nd Army. It spent a month in the rear. Battle of Moscow. In early October, the Germans began their offensive on Moscow. On the 7th, Panfilov's division was transferred to the vicinity of the Soviet capital, arriving on the 11th. It was assigned to Konstantin Rokossovsky's 16th Army and ordered to defend a 41 km long sector along the Urza River, especially the highway passing through Volokholamsk. The 316th was reinforced with the 690th Rifle Regiment from the 126th Rifle Division, as well as the 289th and 296th Anti-Tank Regiments. On the 14th, the German 46th Panzer Corps attacked with superior forces. By the 27th, they had advanced some 30 kilometers, pushing the 316th back to Volokholamsk. On the 28th, after a day of fighting, the city was occupied. Panfilov's soldiers retreated closer to Moscow. The German army resumed its offensive on the 15th of November. In the meantime, the 316th had received some of the first PTRD anti-tank rifles. On the 16th, the 46th Panzer Corps engaged the 316th in its new line of defense, near the village of Dobozakovo. Soviet newspapers later reported that 28 soldiers from the division's 1075th Regiment destroyed 18 enemy tanks while fighting to the last. Although the story gained wide publicity, it was later revealed to be exaggerated. The threat to the 16th Army's flank forced the Stauki to send in the reserve 78th Rifle Division. Although they were forced to retreat after 3 days, the German advance ceased due to the Soviets' resistance and the harsh weather conditions. On the 17th of November, the People's Commissar of Defense passed a decree to promote the 316th to a Guards formation. In recognition of the role it played in defending the capital, it sustained 9,920 casualties, including 3,620 soldiers killed in action and 6,300 wounded. Marshal Dmitry Yazov, who researched the division's history, wrote that it considerably delayed the enemy's march on Moscow in its sector in a telegram from Colonel General Erich Hopner to Field Marshal Fedor von Bock. The first written about the 316th. It is a division of savages. Its soldiers fight in violation of all rules of engagement. They are fanatical, never surrender and do not fear death. On the 18th, a group of journalists traveled to Panfilov's headquarters in the village of Gusinyevo, and told him of the news. As he briefed them in the open, they came under a mortar attack. The general was killed by a shell splinter. The decree came into effect on that very day, turning the 316th to the 8th Guards Rifle Division. It also received the Order of the Red Banner. It was named in honor of Panfilov on the 23rd of November, thus becoming one of the only two Red Army divisions to be named after the commanders. Along with the Chapayevska, as a Guards division, the numbering of its subordinate units was as follows: 19th Guards Rifle Regiment, from 1073rd Rifle Regiment. 23rd Guards Rifle Regiment, from 1075 Road Rifle Regiment. 30th Guards Rifle Regiment, from 1077 Road Rifle Regiment. 27th Guards Artillery Regiment, from 857th Artillery Regiment. 2nd Guards Sapper Battalion, from 597th Sapper Battalion. The 8th Guards took part in the December counteroffensive in Moscow, liberating the villages of Krukovo and Istra. Remainder of war. During late January 1942, the 8th Guards was assigned to the 2nd Rifle Corps of the Northwestern Front's 3rd Shock Army, and participated in the battles near the Demyansk pocket. For its performance during the operation, it was collectively awarded the Order of Lenin on the 16th of March. In late 1942, as part of the Kalinin Front, the 30th Guards Regiment fought as a separate unit in the Battle of Velikie Luki near the Lovot River. In 1944, it took part in the Leningrad-Novgorod offensive and later, in the Battle of Rezykne, for its role in taking the city and the surrounding region. It was awarded the honorary title Rezitskaya on the 27th of July 1944. On the 3rd of November, the division received the Order of Suvorov Second Class. The 8th Guards ended the war with the 10th Guards Army, as part of the forces besieging Korlin. According to Soviet official reports, during World War II the division killed or disabled 85,000 enemy troops, captured 5,000 more and destroyed or captured 387 tanks, 65 other armored vehicles, 43 planes, 451 guns, 180 mortars, 2010 automobiles and 328 motorcycles. In total, the soldiers of the division were awarded 29 Orders of Lenin, 371 Orders of the Red Banner, 2 Orders of Kutuzov, 8 Orders of Suvorov, 53 Orders of Alexander Nevsky, 1 Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 391 Orders of the Patriotic War First Class, 1783 Orders of the Patriotic War Second Class, 4,747 Orders of the Red Star, 41 Orders of Glory Second Degree and 2061 Orders of Glory Third Degree. 34 soldiers received the highest Soviet military decoration, Hero of the Soviet Union. The first was Major General Ivan Panfilov himself posthumously. Panfilov's 28 guardsmen were also all awarded the title posthumously. When 6 of them were revealed to be alive, 2 were stripped of it. The other wartime heroes were Pyotr Vakrev, Malik Gabjulan, Ivan Shapshev and Tuligan Toktarov. Borzan Momaishvili received the honor in 1991, 3 years after his death. Post-war years, the 8th Guards Division was stationed at Haapsalu in the Estonian SSR with the 4th Guards Rifle Corps after the war. On the 25th of June 1957, it became a motor rifle division. It was disbanded on the 18th of March 1960. On the 23rd of May, the 36th Guards Motor Rifle Division at Kluga was redesignated as the 8th Guards Motor Rifle Division, inheriting the honors of the previous formation. Then it was recalled to Frunze, Kyrgyzstan in May 1967 and assigned to the 17th Army Corps of the Turkestan Military District. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, it became part of the Kyrgyz Armed Forces, but was disbanded in January 2003. At the 11th of July 2011, on the eve of the division's 70th anniversary, the 8th Guards was re-established in a ceremony attended by President Rosa Otunbayeva. It is now garrisoned in Tokmak and commanded by Colonel Melis Satibaldia. Legacy. During 1943 and 1944, war reporter Alexander Beck escorted the 8th Guards. Drawing from the memories of Major Borzan Momishulili, he authored a book, Volokholamsk Highway, about the fighting near the city. After the war, in 1960 and 1961, he completed 2 sequels, Several Days and General Panfilov's Reserve. The trilogy described the experiences of Momishulili as a battalion commander, from the formation of the division in Alma-Ata until the Soviet counter-offensive in Moscow. Volokholamsk Highway, known also as Panfilov's Men, became popular both in the Soviet Union and abroad. Published in Hebrew in 1946, Volokholamsk Highway held an almost cult status in the Palmach and later in the Israeli army, according to media researcher Yuval Sharchel, and became a standard tactical handbook in the Israeli Defense Forces. Inspired by the novel, future Israeli Chief of the General Staff Mottigo once held a Panfilov roll call for 2 soldiers who deserted from his company when he was a young officer, shaming them in front of the other troops. He wrote that it was a common practice in the IDF at the time. During 2005, Ehud Barak told, "We, as young officers, were raised on Momishulili." Volokholamsk Highway was popular in Cuba as well. Fidel Castro told Norberto Fuentes that the idea to use the love of the motherland for convincing people to support me came to me after reading the novel. The novel was well known among members of the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces. In 1961, Raul Castro told a journalist that every regimental commander was compelled to have a copy. In Jesus Diaz's acclaimed 1987 novel Las Inicials de la Guerra, the protagonist cites Beck's book as a major influence on his life. The novel was also included in the list of compulsory reading for members of the Chinese Communist Party and People's Liberation Army personnel. On the 27th of June 1963, the East German Ministry of National Defense issued its Order No. 5063 drafted on the initiative of Walter Ulbricht, which introduced Volokholamsk Highway as part of the political education program for the soldiers of the National People's Army. In the official history of the NVA, historian Major General Reinhard Brühl had cited it as having a major influence of the soldiers. Beck's Volokholamsk Highway served as one of the settings for an eponymous series of 5 plays by Heiner Müller, written from 1984 to 1987. The first part, Russian Opening, was based on Heinrich von Kleist's The Prince of Homburg. In Müller's reinterpretation, Momishulili assumes the role of the Great Elector. Beside Beck's trilogy, Momishulili himself authored his accounts on the division's fighting near Moscow. Wartime commanders: Major General Ivan Panfilov, Major General Vasily Revyakin, Major General Ivan Chistyukov, Colonel Ivan Serebryakov, Major General Spiridon Chernugov, Colonel Dmitry Dulov, Major General Ernst Segilin, Major General Andrei Kuleshov, Colonel Grigory Panishev, Colonel Grigory Lomov, Command Staff during the Battle of Moscow. Commander Ivan Panfilov. Chief of Staff Colonel Ivan Serebryakov. Commissar Senior Battalion Commissar Sergei Egorov. Chief of Political Department Battalion Commissar Alexander Galushko. Chief of Divisional Artillery Major Vitaly Makarov. 1073 GH Infantry Regiment, commanded by Major Grigory Efimovich Elin. 1075th Infantry Regiment, commanded by Colonel Ilya Koprov. 1077 Infantry Regiment, commanded by Major Zinovy Shektmin.